Consequently, he who rebels against the authority is rebelling against what God has instituted. And those who do so will bring, what's the word? Judgment on themselves. Now, wait a second. So you're saying at school, as a kid, when I rebel against my teacher and I break the rules in my classroom, that I'm actually rebelling against God? Paul gives them a ding, ding, ding. You're saying at my workplace, all the junk that I give my boss, all the runarounds I did, all the bad talking and gossip, and maybe even a couple of lies that I shared about something, you're telling me when I do that, that I'm actually rebelling against God? And Paul's going, that's right. Your anti-establishment or kicking against the rules is actually bringing judgment upon yourself. And I love this series. We took this whole series from Andy Stanley, and he's got a quote here. I put it in your programs that's just, I hate it, but I love it. Your attitude and response to a seen authority is a reflection of your attitude and response for God's unseen authority. How you act here on this earth with people you can see is a direct reflection of how you think and respond to God. Now, for many, that should be a painful idea, if we're honest. Don't fall for the twist. It's just like the very first twist that ever happened back in the Garden of Eden. You remember Adam and Eve, and they're there in the Garden of Eden. Everything's cool, and Satan comes, and God said, hey, you have full authority over everything. All the animals, all the plants, all the fish. It's all yours. Everything except this one tree. Just one tree. And from the fruit of that, you don't eat. Everything else is yours. And so Satan comes along and goes, oh, come on. That's a stupid rule. He didn't really mean that. You're not going to die. Think about it, Adam. Well, Eve, let me focus on you for a minute. Think about it, Eve. Like he's going to kill you. Look at the fruit. It's ripe. It looks good. You know it's going to taste good. And you even know it's going to make you smart. You're going to know a lot more. Go ahead. It's a dumb rule. Focus on the what, not the who, and who set up the rule. Disobeying authorities is rebellion against God, no matter how hard you try to separate the two, no matter how many excuses you try to come up with. Look at verse 3. For rulers hold no terror for those who do right, but for those who do wrong. Do you not want to be free from the fear of the one in authority? Then do what is right, and he will commend you. For he is God's servant to do you good. But if you do wrong, be afraid, for he does not bear the sword for nothing. He is God's servant, an agent of wrath to bring punishment on the wrongdoer. Therefore, it is necessary to submit to the authorities. There are many of us who obey authorities just because we don't want to get in trouble. We stay in line because if we get out of line, there will be too much consequences to pay. We don't want the wrath of the one leading us. So you'll hear a kid say, oh, I can't do that because my dad would kill me. You know? I mean, they just know, no. I would do it if I could get by with it. But if my dad found out, I would get in too much trouble. And it's not worth it. So the attitude is, I'm only doing this or I'm only not doing this to stay out of trouble, not because of the one who told me I can't do this or have to do this. I would do it if I could get by with it. I wouldn't do it if I could get by with it. I would go against the system. I would go against what was being said if I could get by and have no consequences. Verse 5. Therefore, it is necessary to submit to the authorities, not only because of possible punishment, here it is, but also because of, what's the word? Conscience. You don't submit to authorities just to stay out of trouble. It's for a clean conscience as well. That's the twist. If you're submitting just because you want to stay out of trouble, just because you're afraid that you will get caught, listen kids, then you're more concerned about the what than you are the who. If that's your concern, I don't want to step out of line because I don't want to get in trouble, you have bought into the twist. It's a matter of conscience. Listen, God has placed you and me under authority. Deal with it. Just deal with it. This is the way it is. This is life. You are under authority.